I'm Alicia.
And I'm Maddie.
And welcome to the Fangirl Diaries, a podcast where we talk about our obsessions,
Reminisce about our teen icons,
and explore the books, movies, and shows that made us the incredibly nerdy 30-somethings that we now are.
Hey everyone.
Hello! It's a coffee break episode.
We've just had some brunch. We've had some coffee.
We've had some coffee.
Definitely going to have some more like tea in a minute.
Well, yes, because we're in England and we're drowned because it's February and gross.
And so we thought what we would talk about today is a place, the other side of the world, where it is not grey and miserable right now.
I was so jealous of this trip. Tell everybody where you went, Madeline.
I've just gotten back from 3 weeks in New Zealand.
Oh.
It was amazing.
And in December/January, so
Yeah.
you missed the grim, cold, drizzly weather here.
Yeah.
And I saw 99 billion Instagram stories of you and Ben in sunglasses.
Yeah, it was sunny. I mean, obviously it's New Zealand. It's not like baking heat wave the whole time, but like we had some incredible weather and some like just blue skies. It was amazing. Loved it.
And we thought we would talk not just about, the gorgeousness of your holiday, but specifically about the incredible nerdism that you were able to participate in, which is
Lord of the Rings filming locations.
Oh my god!
So we definitely went to New Zealand for like the scenery, for the hiking, for the like vineyards. But yeah, quite a lot of it was just going to Lord of the Rings filming locations across the country.
And do you feel like you and Ben were equally on board with going to see the locations, or were you ever like, I just want to make a detour, and Ben sort of capitulated?
No. We were both 100% in. In fact, at one point, like Ben was like looking through our guidebooks, trying to like find more filming locations to go and like add into our road trip.
In fact, we should say that we have here as a prop. Maddie has brought I think I had this at one point, the location guidebook, except you've got the completely updated edition. Wow.
We bought it as a bit of a souvenir, but yeah, it takes you through it's like a travel guide of New Zealand, but it's just all the places where they filmed the different scenes in Lord of the Rings.
So we should say, for people who have no concept of this, which I imagine is nobody listening to this podcast, that Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson trilogy, was entirely filmed in New Zealand.
Yeah, in like the late 90s. Yeah,
that's right, isn't it? Late 90s, early... Well, no, it came out in the early 90s. So yeah, they must have been filming this in sort of 99 and kind of 2000. And so many of the locations are like outdoor or national parks or like places where if you're on a road trip, which you were, and I had been previously, you could like park your vehicle by the side of the road and take a picture of something that was, I don't know, in the Two Towers or whatever.
Absolutely. And they filmed basically across the whole country. And we were doing a road trip in like a camper van from the north to the south. So we saw as much as we possibly could in that time.
Yeah. See, I feel like, we're going to go through these. You definitely managed to see more than I did.
When did you go?
In like 2017 or 18.
Yeah.
And now I went with someone who was a moderate fan. I went with my boyfriend of the time who, liked the films, but I don't think had fully appreciated the kind of individual that I am.
The level of obsession.
The level. So he was really happy to book, Hobbiton and the Tongariro crossing to see like Mount Doom. But then, had not realised that I, like you and Ben, had like religiously etched out on a map where like every bush that was in the film it was worth a stop.
Yeah. Let's start from the top then. So going from north to south, these are like the different places we went. The first being Hobbiton, which is an absolutely incredible experience. So for those that don't know, they built into the hillside the whole of like all of the hobbit holes and everything. Grew all the flowers, like created this physical set for Lord of the Rings. But then it was all taken down because they didn't know that the Lord of the Rings was going to be the massive, they were hoping for success, but they didn't know it was going to be so extraordinarily like successful that it was worth keeping around. It was just a film set.
So hang on, wait, did they, because when you go now, it's fully constructed.
Yeah,
so
so they took it down, they reconstructed it for the Hobbit movies.
Oh, I
fully.
see.
So then when they made the Hobbit movies, they built everything again to the same specification, whatever, like dunk stuff into the, and then just kept it because they knew by that point this is a money-making scheme.
I'm amazed it took that long to like twig that.
It's so incredible.
I mean, like when I went, and I bet it's the same for you, I mean, it was sold out. Like, it was the thing we booked in advance. It was like, the tourist item for Lord of the Rings to go into. And it's like properly Disneyfied. There's gift shops. There's like, you could have, we had like the brunch or dinner at the pub.
We did the second breakfast tour. So you tour around Hobbiton and then you go and you have like a full Hobbit breakfast brunch.
Yeah, at the Green Dragon.
An insane amount of food. It was incredible. Yeah. But I actually thought that it was done very well, right?
Me too.
Like the whole thing, although they had probably like 30 to 40 people being taken on tours every 10 minutes all day, you never felt like you were being rushed. You never felt like there were too many people because you were just in your group, and it was very well managed. You had like a tour guide who knew like everything about Lord of the Rings. She was probably like 15 years younger than us, but was like obsessed. She was like 18. And she was like knew everything. She was completely obsessed. Anyway, but she took us around, and very clearly they were timing things, so you moved on to the next section. But like it was done very well, so it felt natural.
This has become much more structured, I think, between when I went and you went. Either that, or I just completely jettisoned our tour guide and tour group and thought, I'm going off piste. I don't need this.
Oh no, you couldn't go off piste. You would have been brought back to your group nowadays. Maybe it's changed, but like there was no way of going off piste. You were with your group. You had time to do all the things, like take all the photos and I mean, coming into Hobbiton, it really was like being in the Shire. Like it's just, I mean, it's not even like it's real. It basically is real.
Yeah.
It like they've grown the vegetable patches, and like all the houses are like staged like real houses. It's amazing.
It was the bit where I thought, if this doesn't live up to my expectations, I'm going to be really upset.
Yeah.
But it so did.
Yeah.
Like I think we've both said when we've discussed this ourselves that like we both cried.
Yeah.
Because you turn a corner and it opens up in the same way that in Fellowship there's a shot where the cart goes into Hobbiton.
Yeah.
And it's like a wide shot that kind of expands out.
Yeah.
And you turn around that corner basically.
And you're like looking up the hill, and it opens up the hill. Like it's very 3D.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking up and it's the whole thing is just Hobbiton.
This was the moment where James realised who he was dealing with.
Yeah.
I think he sort of looked at me like, what? It's like, you don't understand. This was my childhood.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, and then we kind of cast about the group thinking, there's real fellow nerds here.
Yeah.
Some people are confused. You can tell that like one or two people have been brought along and not really realised
what they're doing. There were definitely some like parents who'd been dragged along, and they were like, has anyone not seen the films? And they like put their hand up, and you're like, okay, what are you doing here? Yeah. But we had two guys they were clearly twins. They were probably like 15 or 16, and they had like black curly hair, and they dressed up fully as hobbits.
Love that. That's okay. I'm glad to see
they were in rubber feet with hair on them, and like waistcoats, and they got amazing photos all the way around.
Good for them. Okay, and then did you do the Tongariro pass?
Yes. Yeah. So then we drove down south, and the Tongariro crossing is essentially, it's a full day's hike across Mordor.
So I had underestimated I had just sort of like selectively not heard the hike part.
I mean, we were warned. It was like, this will be an 8-hour walk, an 8-hour hike. And we were like, it's 20 kilometers. Can't take 8 hours. We could do 20 kilometers. That's like a half marathon. We'll do that in like a few hours. No. Yeah. It is a proper, serious, like alpine hike.
It was, no joke, the hardest walk I've ever done.
Really?
And anyway, you start to become warned. So I too thought, James and I are physically able people. We walk to the bus stop every day or something like that. And the first sort of warning sign was the hosts who were looking after us at our like, Airbnb heard we were doing this the next day, and like did this thing where they like prepare you like a pack for this hike. And I thought like, no, it's cool. Like we'll get a coffee on the way. Like, it's fine. You know, I had no concept of like what this was.
Oh no, you were wildly unprepared.
Oh my god, they had packed us like cooling gels and protein bars.
Yeah.
And I looked at this snack pack like, this is a portent.
Yeah, this is like serious exercise.
And you know, when you start for the first sort of 2 hours, it's okay. And then you get to a bit where these massive signs are saying like, feeling not so hot? Well, turn back now. because
it gets worse. It gets worse.
Literal death is ahead.
It was very, very steep. So essentially the landscape, I mean, it is Mordor. The first bit of the landscape, as Alicia says, is quite flat and open, and you're kind of on rocky, lava-y type landscape with weird like moss stuff growing, but they've like put out boardwalks and stuff, so it's actually like quite manageable. But then you slowly start going up, and then suddenly you're not going slowly anymore, you're going like steep up, and it really was like Sam and Frodo climbing up the side of the mountain, because not only is it like where they filmed some of the shots in Mordor, the actual volcano that's right next to you is the main volcano that they used for Mount Doom. So you're going up the kind of side and round of this real huge volcano.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It actually changed my opinion of Return of the King, which I think we've talked about in our Return of the King episode. When it gets to that bit in Mordor, and they're so close, and Frodo is like on his hands and knees sort of scrabbling in the dust.
Yeah.
I used to watch that thinking, for God's sake, like move faster. Like you're almost there. Merry and Pippin are barely holding on, fighting all these orcs for you at the gate. Like, walk faster. And then when I was doing the Tongariro crossing, you're there on your hands and like you're basically grabbing on with all your hands and knees. Like you're really scrambling. And I thought, fair. Yeah. Like it was hard for Frodo and Sam.
I actually found the hardest bit was once you'd gone halfway, you then get to a real peak, which is amazing. Like the whole thing is stunning. Like the landscape's bizarre, this like weird Martian Mordor landscape. But then you get to this peak and then you have to like go down, and the down bit right at the top was so steep and so like, I don't know what time of year you were there, but like for us it was like almost like sandy. Yeah. So every step that you went down, you were kind of like falling and you just like couldn't keep your footing. So there were people who were going fast and they were essentially like skiing on their feet down it, like zoom, zoom, zoom. Whereas I'm like terrified to lose my footing, was there like, oh my God, I'm slipping. Oh my God, I'm slipping. And like at first,
it's scary.
Like there was probably a good half an hour of this like terrifying descent down like sandy steepness. It was terrible.
So Lord of the Rings fans, if you're considering a trip to New Zealand, we would just say absolutely do the Tongariro Pass, but just take care. Don't underestimate it. Yeah. It was really hard.
Me and my husband, like, we like run, and my husband like runs marathons regularly, is like really fast. We felt like the least fit people on that whole hike.
Yeah. Yeah. The signs saying turn back now. Yeah. It turns out like have a point.
Yeah. So then actually really, really close to Tongariro, you just kind of go around the national park a bit and you can get to Gollum's pool. Mm-hmm. So this is where like Gollum's like fishing in the pool that he's not meant to be fishing in, and like Faramir comes to like to Frodo and is like gonna catch Gollum.
The forbidden pool.
The forbidden pool.
To catch a fish so juicy, sweet.
Yeah, and it's actually really good. It's probably the waterfall that kind of goes down the back is probably a bit smaller than I thought, but I guess once you're filming, like things do look bigger than they do in real life. But we had a load of fun. You kind of have to go quite far down like this kind of path, which we did on the same day as the Tongariro crossing. It was literally around the corner.
How?
It was only like 20 minutes. Anyway, we scrabbled down this path into the pool, and then like I got Ben to crouch on the rocks out in the pool and got some photos of him like being Gollum looking into the pool.
I love this.
It was so great.
I love this from Ben because he was game to do all of this.
Oh yeah.
There were times, and it was on the Tongariro Pass, when I had said to James, like, could you just hold my phone and I'm just going to do a little bit of acting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wanted him to like recreate the shot of them like coming round the big boulder or something. And he really did indulge me. But I feel like Ben, that's what I mean, was actually keen.
He was keen. Yeah. And the other thing that I was doing was whenever I was posting my pictures while I was away on Instagram, I like most of the time was like quoting Lord of the Rings quotes from the books and the films alongside like every picture that I posted from my trip. Like for 3 weeks, I'd like stashed up a whole load of relevant quotes about like adventure or travel and like stuff. And used them on all of the photos.
It was great. The content was strong. And then where did you go?
Next would have been, we carried on south, and just around New Year's we were in Wellington, so we went to Weta Workshop.
Yes, that's good, isn't it?
Which was pretty cool. So yeah, for people that don't know, Weta Workshop is the like studios that did all of the special effects, the like physical effects, all of the monsters and like sets and swords and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. I found it a little bit like staged. I don't know whether they were just in the middle of doing a load of real work on real films, but we couldn't really see much of the real workshop. We were basically just being taken around like
props
a few side rooms where they'd kind of created a little tour. But yeah, it did feel a little bit like we weren't seeing really what goes on there, which is fair because I think they're absolutely huge. After Lord of the Rings, they've become like the most renowned like physical props kind of studio, and they even do like digital stuff as well. Like they work on video games. Like every big movie now uses them, so they have to keep stuff secret.
Yeah, it's still a good time. Like if you're in Wellington and you're a Lord of the Rings fan, it is worth it. But it didn't have the like anywhere near the emotional impact that I thought the kind of outdoor set stuff did.
I liked the gift shop best.
Oh my god, same. And also at Hobbiton, same thing. Gift shop game was strong.
Yeah. I got like a nice little pin, like a badge pin thing.
Yeah.
Because I kind of collect those, and it has the sword, and it says "You have my sword," and it's got like little like leaf kind of pattern going around it. And it's so nice. I love it.
That.
And we also got the sign that says like no admittance except on party business. It's like
which
a big physical sign.
Yeah. So good. And then where did you go? Because then this is the big one.
Then we went down to the South Island. And our biggest, because obviously we were on this like big road trip, like you're covering the whole of the country in 2.5 weeks essentially. But the biggest like detour just for a Lord of the Rings location to get like off of our route was to the mountain that they use for Edoras. So it's where they had built like the Golden Hall, King Theoden's Golden Hall, and they built the whole of like the whole of Edoras, the whole village, town, whatever you want to call it, physically on this like bizarre mountain that like sits in the middle of a plain. Like it's just sticking out on its own. It's completely flat.
Do they explain like, because you're right, it is weird. It's like a whole flat surface and then this random protrusion.
Rock. Yeah, it's like it's basically in a valley. So it's in the Southern Alps. So around it are these, I mean, all of the stuff in the film where you see in the background these huge mountains is real. It's not like been added in later. Yeah. It's huge mountains, but you're in like the valley between different mountain ranges that is completely flat. And then just like one random rock that sticks up, and it used to be inaccessible. So it's possible that when you went, you couldn't even get there.
No, I just my persuasive powers didn't extend that far. So this is one that Maddie saw, and that, because you're right, it does involve a kind of detour.
Yeah, so we were like going down like the main road south, but then we had to take like basically an hour's drive off that road, and then at least like 45 minutes on like a gravel track.
See, I would have been up for this, but just my powers of persuasion did not extend to like, this is a very, very important hill that we go in.
It is a very important hill.
It is a very important hill.
There were so many people there as well. Like there was nobody going there, and then we got there, and there's this like tiny little car park, and then you do a walk that's like, it's like a couple of miles kind of from this car park up the hill and then back round. It's all marked out, but it didn't used to be. So it used to be that this was just a plain with a rock in the middle that nobody ever came to. But now, like, you know, within the last 10 years or so, they have created this, like, you know, essentially like Department of Conservation car park and put in a little path and stuff so that you can get there. And that was the moment I cried, was we got to this car park and I saw Edoras, and I literally have been wanting to go to that place since I was 12, and I watched the Two Towers extended edition behind the scenes DVDs.
Oh yes.
And they show the building of that, and I just always just thought that all of the sets are amazing, obviously, but like to have built this whole village on top of this rock, and like it just captivated me, like back when I was like 12. So it's been like 20 years that I have had in my mind that I wanted to go there, and I had to go there. So it really felt like a genuine pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And I got there and I wept, literally wept.
I was just going to use that term, that this is not to make light of, you know, people making actual religious pilgrimages, but for this so absorbed our teenage years.
Yeah.
The whole Lord of the Rings phenomenon, that when you go, and you do have to make a pilgrimage, it's the other side of the blasted world.
Yeah, it took like more than 24 hours just to get there.
Yeah.
And that's like just the flying.
Yeah, you really do think, oh my God, I've made it.
Yeah.
And it's not just going on a studio tour. It's looking at things throughout this whole country, and they use the country so well that you do end up having to like pull over the car a lot and just be like, I just need a moment to just stare at this big rock or at this waterfall because this means so much to me.
And you'd speak to people in small towns because a lot of, there aren't very many big cities in New Zealand, and there'd be small towns where like, the crew had just rocked up to come film locally, and the whole town was dragged into like playing orcs. Yeah. So, like everyone in this town is in the movie. And they're like, yeah, so-and-so played like this orc and that orc, and yeah, we were all extras behind there, and it's like the whole town just did it because that's how they found people.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
And then we both have various stories of like tiny little bits where we tried to find like this
like really specific random bits of rivers and things.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's normally river related because you realise that quite rightly some of the great shots of the river stuff are in like gorges, or are near some sort of deadly waterfall.
Yeah.
So there's various points of like pulling over the car, seeing if you can go off track enough to get one photo of you pretending to be like near the falls of Raros or whatever it is.
Yeah. The most difficult one I think we both tried to do was near Queenstown in like Otago, near all the vineyards. You can like kind of go up on this track that's like goes towards one of the vineyards up on the hill, but it looks down onto a gorge of the river where they had like the
Argonath,
the statues. That's it. But like you're looking down on them, so it kind of looks really small.
Yeah,
and you're like, I guess that is the right spot, but this doesn't look quite as cool. And you're like, what are we doing?
Anyway, it somehow looks like this one winery is absurdly popular, and some people are going to the winery, but then you see a bunch of the cars like pause before the winery, and you think, oh, I know why you're here.
And it's on this like crazy like road that's like winding up the side of this hill, and it's like not wide enough for two cars. Yeah. So when two are trying to like get past each other, you feel like you're going to fall off a cliff. Anyway, it was madness.
Yeah. The last bit that we did, which again was the final indulgence that James gave me, and then I think he'd had enough, was we did find the bit where Arwen steps into the ford, or she's on the horse, and she's just there, if you want him, come and claim him.
I remember seeing photos of you doing that because I don't think we found that right spot.
And that is fine because it did involve quite literally cutting my way through a thicket. Like, we had to park the car somewhere. It's like, not park, just like pull it over in a ditch. I was trying to get like GPS to work to like navigate my way through this like thorny bramble forest.
Yeah.
And I kept saying to James like, no, it's we're nearby. Whereas like, just keep going through the thorns. Like almost there. God. And that if you could just film me, I'm just going to wade into this river. And then I've had my moment.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think we ended up on the same river, but we never spotted the exact spot. What do you think about like how these film locations have affected New Zealand like as a country and like as a tourist destination?
I don't know. I think I probably got a skewed perspective of it because I was like overly engaging with it.
Yeah.
Whereas I imagine like some people will go and do the fabulous tour of New Zealand and like either see none of these things or would do the Tongariro crossing and not even register that it was, necessarily anything to do with Mount Doom. But it did feel like it gave the country feels so proud of its involvement in these films, which it should do. They've probably changed it now, but when we went on New Zealand Air, the safety video was like Lord of the Rings themed.
I wish we'd seen that. They have gotten a new one now, but I think they had that one for a very long time.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
And there's a real sense of, I thought, people being really into it still, and the country being super proud that it hosted this kind of phenomenon.
I think you're right, and I think it isn't. I think it does make a difference. Obviously, people would go to New Zealand anyway. Yeah. Obviously, people go now, and it's nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. But I do think that it does add something that probably a few more people like myself who would make that journey because of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, we should both say we did do other stuff. So there's like, there's tons of things to do, like glaciers and the fjords and all of this.
The fjords were amazing.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, it isn't somewhere where you would only go if you were a total Lord of the Rings nerd. There's so much stuff to do. But I think for people like you and I, like, if we're honest, that was probably the compelling factor.
Reason.
We were like, we must make this journey.
Also, I am convinced that the guy who owned the farm where they built Hobbiton is now a multi-millionaire. Because he was a random farmer who happened to own a particularly picturesque farm with rolling hills.
Yeah.
He rented it out to this film crew for 6 months, a year or something. Thought nothing more of it. 20, 30 years later, he is making thousands and thousands a day. Probably, I don't know what his cut is, but if he's done it well, he is a bazillionaire.
Yeah, it turns out that Disney World of Lord of the Rings is on his farm.
Yeah, which is great. They have a little video from him in the coach that took you to the start, and I was like, this farmer has lucked out. The guys next door must be really annoyed.
That was the only thing that I thought this is such a bizarre crossover of different films that I like, because I somehow feel like I'm on one of the Jurassic Park jeeps, but it's a bus, but to see Lord of the Rings stuff. And I was just I'm so here for this. It's so good.
Anyway, the trip was amazing. I would absolutely go back to New Zealand. I feel like I could do another 3 weeks and see brand new stuff all over it again. We did not see everything, despite the fact it felt like we covered a lot of ground. I could literally do it again and see so much. So
yeah, the people who say you can do it in 2 or 3 weeks, they mean some of the highlights, and even then you're pretty much moving on quickly from one thing to the next. It deserves, if you can, as long as you can give it. But you and I give it the total thumbs up. Highly, highly recommend. You've been listening to the Fangirl Diaries. Follow us on Instagram at Fangirl Diaries Pod.
And do share us with any of your friends that you think might enjoy the podcast, and rate or review us on Spotify or Apple Music.